This is episode 28, Sonnet 46. You're listening to Mike and Scott read a poem.
Poem. P-O-E-M-E. Poem.
Well, first of all, that's not correct. And secondly, why did you just spell that word?
Because I wanted to get at least one word right on this show.
Well, sorry, you didn't do it. You're listening to Mike and Scott read a poem.
If somebody gave me an option between Jersey Boys tickets and Stomp, I think I'm choosing Jersey Boys.
I would say, can I pay a little bit extra and go to both of them? And the person would say, no, I'm giving you one for free. I'm not going to do... I'm like, yes, but can I interest you in two for $15?
I only have one free ticket.
Listen, I would really like to see both of those shows. I don't think you understand me. And
well, all right, okay.
All right. But now it's going to be $10.
I just so happen to have backstage tickets to one.
All right, I'll give you $8.
I got exclusive front stage tickets.
How could I be front stage and backstage at the same time? Your tickets make no sense. These tickets are
front stage
impossible.
to the other.
So the back of one stage is the front of the other stage, so you could be backstage at one show while you're front stage at the other.
I think we just came up with a new Vegas show.
Yeah, it's two theaters that go right up next to each other. So you're backstage at Christina Aguilera while you have front row tickets. Wait a minute, those stages would be too close together. How would this work?
No, okay, so it would be you hanging out with Christina Aguilera backstage at a Aerosmith concert.
No, hanging out with Christina Aguilera can't be tickets. You could be...
Sure.
No,
this is the show. This is the show.
So the show is you're backstage with just a group of people, which includes a celebrity such as Britney Spears, and you're backstage with them. Like there's an audience on the other side of a curtain, but you're
that's
also
watching an Aerosmith show. Yeah, that's got to be Aerosmith.
And they're performing just for you. That's what I'm saying. Unless everybody in the audience is just in the audience to be in front line at a being backstage at the front. It's too complicated. This can't be done.
That's what they said about the Siegfried and Roy show.
Okay, hold on. Let me just try to draw a diagram. Okay, so here, this person represents Britney Spears, okay?
Okay, so you got a dot in the middle of a paper?
No, I drew a stick figure and a girl with hair. I mean, it's just a stick figure, but it's with hair. So that represents that she's a woman. All right, now I'm stuck on how to spell Britney.
I think there's an A in there.
How many T's?
1.
I just want to look it up.
Unless she's British. then it's Brit and E.
Or should this be a trivia question? How do you spell Britney?
Yeah, let's look that up. I don't know that I've ever been quizzed on the name Britney.
All right, it's too late. I've already looked. I'm sorry. I was just too embarrassed. So I already looked it up. So I'm looking at it right now. So Mike, I'm sorry to do this, but you're on a new segment of the show called Spelling Bee.
No!
Every once in a while, we could challenge the other person to spell a word.
My worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's Spelling Bee.
I'm so bad at Spelling Bee.
So write that down.
So bad at this game.
What episode is this? Episode
28.
28. We're going to do Sonnet 46 today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and so Sonnet 44 and Sonnet 45 were a package. Remember, they went together?
Yes.
I have no idea what Sonnet 46 is. So this is great.
We're venturing into unknown territory. We don't even know where the arc of the whole drama.
Yeah, I don't know where it's going to go from here. So we are going to be analyzing this one with nothing to go on but the sonnet today. Sonnet 46 by William Shakespeare. If this is your first time listening to Mike and Scott read a poem. So you're on episode 1 of Spelling Bee. And episode 1, Spelling Bee. And so you could challenge me anytime you want. But I'm challenging you to spell Britney, and I'll even throw in Spears. You have to spell Britney Spears. Go ahead.
All right, Britney Spears. Can you use it in a sentence, please?
I saw a show last night where I was backstage at a Christina Aguilera concert, but front stage at a Britney Spears show. Somehow, the two worlds had collided.
Britney Spears. BRITANY space SPEARS.
And then you say it again.
Britney Spears.
Okay. Well, let's start with what you did well. You spelled Spears absolutely perfectly. And you had just nice confidence. What if this is how they told the people that they spelled the word wrong? Listen, you got so much of it right.
Yeah, you did great, man.
Yeah. I mean, the judges, we considered letting you go through because you spelled so much of it right. But we decided because on technicality, the fact that you got some of the letters wrong, you will not be advancing to the next round.
All right, so there's 2 T's.
If you were spelling Brittany Murphy, there are 2 T's and an A.
Okay.
But Britney Spears is BRITNEY.
BRITNEY.
Yeah. Seems like an easier way to spell it. You get through the word a lot quicker. You don't have to double up on any letters. You know, both however you spell your name, it's fine. I'll learn it and be respectful. But I'm just saying, you know, if I were to rate the spellings, I would say Britney Spears. You get through it a lot quicker.
I'll say this about how bad of a speller I am. It takes me a second when I'm spelling out my name Michael.
Ooh.
Because I half the time I think I'm spelling out Michelle, and the other I have to like double guess myself. I never get it wrong really, but I mean that's how bad I am at spelling, man.
Yeah. Okay, I believe it. Michael's
but when you're spelling, do you see the letters? And like, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
You should be looking at the paper that you're writing on.
Do you close your eyes and?
I was pretending like you were writing something down and that you weren't looking at the paper.
Yeah, that's step 1.
Wait, you're saying when you're spelling something out loud or when you're writing something down?
Both.
Yes.
I'm just terrible at spelling.
So, but when you're writing it down, of course you see the word. Are you saying do you see it first before you just dive into it?
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Visualize.
All right, you just say a random word, and I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to tell you if I saw the word first in my mind or if I just dove into it.
Ready?
Yeah.
Kerplunk.
I think I had an image. It's really hard, but I think there was a little flash where I think I saw it.
You saw a K, an E, and an R, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, and also there was an image of where I've seen the word, because that's an odd one.
Yeah. Okay, I'll use a
but
more.
No. What I'm saying is what I saw was the Green Day album. I think, even though I don't actually know what the cover looks like, I just know I've seen it written down that Green Day has an album called Kerplunk. Couldn't tell you much about it. Probably won't tell you much about it.
So let's try one more then.
Okay.
And just let me know if you visualize.
All right.
The word. Ready?
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Well, I definitely saw him. I'm not even finished yet. U-M. Okay. I definitely saw him. I don't know if I saw the word. This is really hard. I mean, I want to be completely honest here.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to better myself, to become a better speller.
I don't know. Well, and then who knows if I've got these right. Well, I think I got Kerplunk right, Jeff. So you're just doing a psychological...
Does Kerplunk have an exclamation mark at the end of it?
No, but I think the album might.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to...
Oh, it always? No matter where it comes in the sentence?
Yeah, it's got... And sometimes the R is capitalized.
Ooh. I see. So it's like in Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's supposed to have Batman spelling. Like
Batman
place of
spelling.
origin? Batman. Okay.
Gotham City.
K-E capital R lowercase. You don't have to say lowercase, right? Then there's one more thing that maybe I'll include in this sonnet, or maybe I'll just do a separate introduction, that we will, for a short time, for actually just the rest of the year basically, be going to once a month instead of once a week. So we will be slowing down the quest, but not ceasing the quest.
Absolutely.
Who's gone on a famous quest?
Lewis and Clark.
Okay, Lewis and Clark.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to have moments.
Quest.
They had to have moments in their quest where they slowed down a little bit, right?
Yeah, like when they got to the Mississippi.
Okay, wherever there was just moments where they just eased up on the quest, and nobody said to them, "Hey, what's going on? Are you stopping the quest?" They understood. Sometimes you quest really hard. Sometimes you quest a little bit slower.
Yeah, I bet you there was some point in their questing where they got a little comfortable with their pace, their slower pace.
Like we've accomplished a lot on this quest so far.
Like maybe they got to the foot of the Rocky Mountains.
Like who knew we were going to get this far west in this amount of time?
Yeah. Wait, did they make it all the way to California?
I just do not know.
Oh, perfect.
What they were up to.
A trivia question.
Did they go to Oregon?
Yeah, maybe. I'll tell you, as much as I know about Lewis and Clark is they wore coonskin caps, and they had a canoe that they were in for a little while. Well, but that's about it.
I think they were the ones, and oh my goodness, this is a soul-bearing episode as far as like remedial history. I think they were aided by a Native American, perhaps it was Sacagawea. I think it was really? Sacagawea. And then Sacagawea helped them go to Oregon. That's the main, that's your headline right there. Like, why write, this is Mike and Scott read a poem, not Mike and Scott discuss the westwardization of the United States. We're not going to give
We're not here to discuss manifest destiny.
We're not here to tell you when each state achieved statehood. We don't give you history facts. We give you
We're
trivia.
Not here to hold spelling bees.
Yeah, but this is definitely that kind of episode. So Lewis and Clark set out west to just see what's out here.
To set foot in Oregon at some point. We'll have to look that up. I'm really curious now.
Everybody at the time, everybody in the entire country was like, it's kind of like how Americans were obsessed with getting to the moon in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, everybody was obsessed with getting to Oregon. Like, we got to set a man on Oregon. Like, before the end of the decade, we will have multiple people who will have gone to Oregon and survived. Sonnet 46.
Sonnet 46.
Go ahead.
Mine eye and heart are at the mortal war. How to divide the conquest of thy sight? Mine eye, mine heart, thy picture's sight would bar. My heart, mine eye, the freedom of that right. My heart doth plead that thou in him dost lie. A closet never pierced with crystal eyes, but the defendant doth that plea deny, and says in him thy fair appearance lies. To side this title is impaneled. A quest of thoughts, all tenets to the heart, and by their verdict is determined the clear eyes' moiety and dear heart's part. As thus mine eyes do is thine outward part, and my heart's right thine inward love of heart. That one sounds really confusing.
Yes. This will be a challenge this week on Mike
Lots
and Scott
of legal jargon in there, right? Am I right?
I think you're right. It's funny, the word quest is in here. And we were talking about the word quest.
We were foreshadowing.
I think it has something to do with either picturing you with another lover or perhaps picturing you in an offspring. I think it brings up those two themes again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So the first, 12 sonnets were procreation sonnets, where he went along. He always said, it's like a crime if the fair youth didn't procreate.
Yeah.
So maybe he's bringing that back here.
Mm-hmm. So, but the rest I couldn't get on the first pass through.
The first pass through, the only things I'm kind of pulling is, okay, so there's obvious lawyer or courtroom type verbiage here, right?
I think we're going to find that.
I wonder if we should kind of reread through this with that in mind, that this is possibly somebody's on trial for something here.
Okay.
Maybe.
One thing that I think we won't get is a term like crystal eyes. I think we're going to think about that really hard, maybe try to get it in context. But I think in the end, when we look it up, it'll be, this refers to an expression at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And we just can't unlock it. But we'll give it a shot. So from the top. Mine eye and heart are at a mortal war, how to divide the conquest of thy sight. Oh, actually that clears it up a lot. Yeah. Here's the two sides of the trial. My eye and my heart. So what I see on the outside and what I feel on the inside, maybe? Mm-hmm. Or is it, you are so beautiful and lovely, I can't decide what's winning me over more. How beautiful you are or how much I love you.
Yeah.
The conquest of thy sight. So maybe it's how much you tear me apart whenever I see you.
Or no, because when you conquer a land, you have to divide it up into territories.
Ah, you're right. Okay.
So his eye and heart are warring on how to divide the territories of the lover's or fair youth's sight.
Well, what is the conquest of thy sight?
Maybe the fact that he got the fair youth, he won.
I see exactly why you're saying that. Because the way I was reading it at first was, you are the one that has conquested, because that your sight disarms me.
Oh yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So it's your sight kind of kicks my butt. Like you looking at me, or
just me looking at you. Like your sight is your image.
Yeah, and so I can't tell how to divide, the visual versus the emotional.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on.
Mine eye, my heart, thy picture's sight would bar.
Bar means
you're not allowed.
Prohibit.
Yeah. Thy picture's sight. That's a strange line. Mine heart, mine eye, the freedom of that right.
What kind of comes to mind at the beginning of all this is there was one sonnet that we read before where there was a hint at the possibility of Shakespeare's love for the fair youth being purely physical, or visual, based on just how beautiful they are.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if maybe there's something going on here with that. I'll just keep that in mind as we read through. That might not come to anything at all, but we'll see.
My heart doth plead that thou in him dost lie, so that you in him dost lie. A closet never pierced with crystal eyes, but the defendant doth that plead deny, and says in him thy fair appearance lies. Okay,
wait. A closet never pierced with crystal eyes. I wonder if that's... I kind of feel like... There's a couple of sonnets where he referred to his heart as a store or a place or something. So I wonder if his heart is a closet that's never been pierced with crystal eyes.
So that Shakespeare's heart is a closet?
Yeah. And the crystal eyes, maybe the guy's got blue eyes or something.
I was thinking, my heart doth plead that thou in him dost lie. Maybe am I accusing you of loving another person? Remember how there was a breakup?
Mm-hmm.
So my
heart really wants to believe that you are in him. What?
I'm thinking maybe he's pleading because he feels that the fair youth's heart is with this other person. Maybe like we did read something about a rival poet.
Yeah. Is the lie here like lie on the ground or lie
no, like
exist?
It lies in him. So he's in love with this person. So your heart is with him. So, Mike, if I'm accusing you of loving some guy, I'm saying your heart is with him. Your heart's just not in this show.
Okay.
You want to go to another... You want to be on, like, Adam Carolla's show or something. I can feel it. You want to be on Adam Carolla's show every single day instead of doing this show because we're only going to be doing it once a month for a little while. Is that it?
That'd be great, yeah.
Jeez, well... So, see, I'm pleading with you. I'm like, will you please tell me something? I beg your pardon. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pleading with you to tell me. Is your heart with another podcast right now?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
See, I'm pleading with you. I really had to sell that. And I don't think I should have tried so hard because I don't think that's right. But I wanted to...
At least it's something, though. It's something that... I have nothing on this, though. So.
Yeah. But the defendant doth that plea deny. So the defendant, are you the defendant? You are denying that your heart is with him. And says in him, thy fair appearance lies.
Oh, okay. So I think the defendant is either the eye or the heart.
Okay.
Okay, so let's think of it like that. This is the eye versus the heart.
I see, yeah. And the heart is saying, no. It's within me that I can really see you. You did it. Yes.
Okay,
you did
cool.
it. Good for you.
That line just kind of brings it together. I think that's what it is. It's like, okay, he's saying at the beginning, it's a war between the eye and the heart. My eye says, my eye doesn't want my heart to see you. My eye, my heart, thy picture's sight would bar.
Yeah,
right?
wouldn't want to see you.
So my heart, my eye, the freedom of that, right? So my heart would say I have the right to see the fair youth.
Okay.
My heart pleads that you're in him.
In the heart, yes. Oh, jeez. You're so right.
So my heart would plead that your sight lies within him, I guess. Which we'll figure out.
Yes, in the heart.
Means.
No, he's saying... Because now the heart's talking. So it's like a song where like first one guy sings and then the other person's like, but no, you see. So at first the eye is saying, I know, I would stop your images from going in the heart.
Mm.
Or I would just bar you from the heart because I want to keep you to myself.
So I think the basic thing here is that he's fighting between love emotionally and love visually.
Yes. So my heart is saying, no, this, really taking in the fair youth, that's something for the heart to do, not for the eye to do.
Oh, and if we read it like this, so my heart doth plead that thou in him dost lie, a closet never pierced with crystal eyes. So the heart is the closet.
Yeah, the heart is the closet and never pierced with crystal eyes. I don't know. Is that... I
think being pierced with crystal eyes is a bad thing.
Yes. And is it maybe that sometimes the eye can lie to you, but the heart never lies?
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I like that. That's perfect.
But the defendant doth that plea deny, and says in him thy fair appearance lies. So the eyes are now the defendant again, and they're saying, no. Because I could see the fair youth's in appearance.
I like the last three sonnets we've been doing. They're kind of like they're metaphysical.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, eye versus heart. You're right. That is now. I'm going to go out on a limb, and the next line says on mine, to side this title is impaneled. Side is apostrophe CIDE. What do you have on yours?
And says in him thy fair appearance lies. To side this title is impaneled.
Spell side. It's spelling bee part 2 only.
CIDE.
Is there an apostrophe in front of it?
Yeah.
So I think it's like a shortened version of decide.
I think you're right, yeah.
So it's like I thought I was making some big claim, and you're like, yeah, everybody knows that.
I think you're right, yeah.
No, I'm realizing now that I guess it wasn't. I thought I was so smart. But you're like, yes. I
wholeheartedly agree.
To decide this title, so maybe this lawsuit, as you said, is impaneled a quest of thoughts. So I'm guessing my mind is going to be the jury here?
Yeah, and it's kind of like a maybe a thought experiment.
Okay. All tenets to the heart, and by their verdict is determined that clear eyes... what's this word?
Moiety? I'm going to look that up.
Look it up.
Moiety.
Yeah.
I might be pronouncing that wrong. Let's see. I'll listen to it. No, moiety is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Each of the two parts into which a thing is or can be divided.
Okay. The clear eyes, moiety. So, read it again.
Each of the two parts into which a thing is or can be divided. Other definitions: a part or portion, especially a lesser share.
Okay.
In chemistry, a distinct part of a large molecule. It's a noun.
So the verdict is they're both important. The clear eyes moiety, so it has a part of something, and the dear heart's part.
Yeah, I think so.
As thus, so here's the ruling: mine eyes do is thy outward part, and my heart's right thy inward love of heart. So I'm going
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I'm going to continue using my eyes to look at you because you're just that beautiful. But I'm going to continue to use my heart to love what's really so lovely about you.
He's not saying all that much. It's a great sonnet. I really like the imagery and I like the words here.
Uh-huh.
But he's saying basically, I can't tell if I love you because of how you look or because of if my heart loves you because of who you are. You look great. You're a great person. Oh, whatever. I like you both because you look good, and I like you because your heart's great.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's saying, right? If we're interpreting this correctly.
But here's the context. This guy has been saying that he loves this other person for a long time, if it's still the fair youth.
Uh-huh.
And if somebody has already declared their love for you a long time ago, and you feel comfortable that their love is true, wouldn't it be even better if one day they said to you, I can't even remember how I started loving you so much to begin with, if it's just because you're so darn attractive or because you're such a great person. That's how much I love you. I get confused as to what I was attracted to more.
And in the end, he's just saying, screw it. My eyes get their moiety and my heart gets his part. Love everything about you, basically.
If somebody said to you, do you love me because of my personality or do you love me because of my looks?
I think,
yes, go ahead.
Mine eye and heart are at a mortal war.
But I think a great answer to that, if somebody says, just in today's English, if somebody's like, do you love me because of my looks or do you love me because of my personality? You should say, I can't decide.
Which is basically what he's saying. I said the word basically like 10 times today.
I'll edit most of them out.
So that's what Shakespeare is trying to say here.
I'm sold.
The best answer is both.
The best answer is both. All right.
You're sexy and your insides are beautiful. That one was scary, man. That sonnet was a little scary at the beginning.
It was like...
I thought there'd be no way.
That one was like a magician escape act. Where it's like...
Does he have chains on?
Yes, he has chains on.
Is he upside down in water?
He's definitely upside down in water.
Okay. Yeah, then I agree.
And you know about how much time he has? Like, he'll start the whole thing by saying, the longest I've ever held my breath is this amount of time. So then they put that time up on the board. I've never seen one of these acts, but doesn't that seem like a good way to set it up?
I think David Blaine did this, yeah.
And did he say that first? Like, this is how long I could hold my breath?
Probably, yeah. Like, I've been practicing for 5 months on holding my breath for a long period of time. I'm able to get, the best I've ever done is, 4 hours. So, but he's David Blaine, man. He does the impossible.
Yes, but how long do you think he's held his breath underwater?
Oh man, I would not be surprised if it was seriously an hour of holding breath.
All right, do you want to make that your serious guess?
Yeah. I'll go with 59 minutes. He couldn't make it, man. He couldn't get to an hour.
59 minutes. Okay. I think he was in a block of ice. So maybe we'll just look all this up. I put Dave Blaine. And I'm sure I misspelled Blaine. Hopefully I don't mix it up with two of my friends, one whose name is Dave and one whose name is Blaine. Hopefully I don't just look up trivia questions about them and then come on air and So here's one thing about Blaine that I completely forgot about.
Is Blaine a guy's name or a girl's name?
It's a guy's name, the guy that I know.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's a good name.
So David Blaine, how long has he held his breath? Mike says 59 minutes. I'll say some number that I think is high, but way lower than yours. I'll say 8 minutes.
Okay.
Last week we did how long is the Beatles' discography.
Yeah, you got closer. It was what, 10, roughly 10 hours?
Roughly 10 hours, which I've been meaning to do one for myself where I'm like, these are the albums that I count and put them all back to back on a playlist using, I don't know, Spotify, if it's on Spotify. I'll figure something out, okay?
Yeah.
And then just add up all those albums and see what it says. And then maybe this is how Mike and Scott Read a Poem becomes famous. It just has a picture of all of those albums lined up. So from Please Please Me to Abbey Road, these are all the albums. This is how long it is. That's the Beatles collection. That's how Mike and Scott Read a Poem becomes famous, is we're going to create that image.
Wait, the Please Please Me was the name of an album?
I think maybe it was. Oh, no, wait a minute. That was just the name of the first single. The name of the album is With the Beatles? Meet the Beatles? I used to know these things.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, I think we're done. I think this is it.
This was a long time ago that I used to know all that stuff. Okay. So
you gotta hop back into the Beatles, man.
Okay, but we'll look up these trivia questions after we look up Sonnet 46, which at this point we feel very strongly about. The first line says, "This poem is about my eyes and my heart," and then we completely forgot about it later, or I think I led us astray, and then you brought us back to, hey, didn't he say in the beginning that it's the eye and the heart?
Yeah, it was keeping that idea that this is a trial.
It would be like if you were reading that Dr. Seuss book, The Star-Bellied Sneetches. Is it Sneetches, or is that right? Does that sound right?
The only Dr. Seuss I know is One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and Green Eggs and Ham. That's it.
Okay, I was going to say you don't know Green Eggs and Ham. Okay, well, then in the beginning of the book, it says, this story is about this conflict. This guy wants to get this guy to eat green eggs and ham. This guy don't want it. Conflict begin. Let's see how this plays out. So you know exactly what. So this told us right in the beginning. Like, this is mine eye. That's the guy who wants green eggs and ham, and heart, or he wants heart to eat green eggs and ham, and heart says, I don't want to eat green eggs and ham. Now that's not really what this sonnet is about, but what I'm saying is those two are against each other.
They're at odds.
So you need to keep that in your mind the whole time. Otherwise, just like forgetting that conflict in green eggs and ham, the story wouldn't make any sense. You wouldn't.
Wait. What's this stuff in the end here about ham?
Well, you would wonder.
Some sort of a meal.
You would say, why is this guy on a train? But you don't ask that when you read the book, because you know why he's on a train, to demonstrate that even then he would not eat green eggs and ham. If you think that the green eggs and ham wasn't enticing enough, Wait till you see it on a train. And he's like, still, no.
I never thought about that, but you're right. What about being on a train makes green eggs and ham all that much more delicious?
Yeah, and what makes it more delicious for a fox to be sitting there watching you eat it?
In a box.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it. Well, it would be pretty cute if there was a fox in a box, especially if he seemed happy in there. Oh, man, that would be cute. Anyway, we're going to look up Sonnet 46, and then maybe we'll look up fox in a box and see what kind of Google images we get. But first, the sonnet. When we come back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Are you ready to come back?
Yep, let me turn the fan off here.
What, do we have anything to grade us on? Okay, let's just say spelling. So let's just pretend this is a spelling bee, and for our analysis, pretend like that was the word that I just spelled. Do I get to move on to the next round?
You Yeah, you get I don't even know what they say. What do they say? You are correct.
I don't think they do it with much gusto in a spelling bee.
Oh, yeah, they're just like, correct.
That is correct.
Ding! Oh, they have a bell. They have a little bell. That's right.
You think so?
Yeah, I think I remember a bell.
I think they just sell that is correct.
Can you put a bell sound in there?
Do you want me to actually make... I'm saying I don't think they actually do it in the real National Spelling Bee.
I think there's a bell, man. It's
all
like
right.
It's not like a hear ye kind of bell.
Right.
It's like a please ring this for service bell, like ding ding.
All right, so we're gonna look it up. I'm talking about the one that's on ESPN.
You got to get all specific. So that
the national. Maybe it's called the Scripps National Spelling Bee, something like that.
Whichever one that they show on the news, I think
the one on the news. Okay, is there a bell, or are they called an adjudicator? And what are they called? Also, we're going to learn about spelling bees.
Whoa! Sounds like you know a lot more about spelling bees than I originally thought.
What? Just because I came up with the word adjudicator?
Yeah,
that's not even necessarily the right word.
Can you spell it though?
Ooh, are you calling me out?
Yeah. This will be your word. If you can get this word, we will. That's.
Then we put
10
this
out
to
of
rest.
10 on this sonnet.
Okay. Can you look up the word right now so you could tell me if I'm right or wrong in real time?
Yeah, hold on. What was the word again? Adjudicator?
Adjudicator.
All right, got it up.
Okay.
A person who adjudicates.
Okay.
Nice.
I wouldn't have been able to define that. Okay, adjudicator. A D J U D I C A T O R. Adjudicator.
Ding!
Yes, I did it.
10 out of 10, man.
Nice. Oh, man.
You got it. Whew.
Good
job. Correct.
Okay. So, and that's actually what we got on the sonnet.
Heck yeah, 10 out of 10, man. We really smashed that sonnet. It was a good one. I liked it. It does feel like Shakespeare's not saying all that much. He's kind of saying, do my eyes think you're hot? Does my heart think that you're an amazing person? It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same.
And they're both happening at the same time, yeah. Just let them do their job. It's like when the people were arguing about whether Diet Coke, whether it was great because it tasted great or it had less filling. It's like, it's both great. Don't worry about why it's so good. Just
didn't you guys read Shakespeare? Come on.
Yeah, Sonnet 46, everybody. Embrace the fact that both things... It's like, why did they win those championships? Because of Shaq or Kobe? Like, hey, Sonnet 46, man.
You got to start this.
Yeah.
This is a whole new thing.
Sonnet 46.
You always reference Sonnet 46.
Yeah,
whenever there's two.
Yeah, whenever there's two
when
reasons.
People are pitting two unnecessary things against each other.
Yeah, you just say Sonnet 40.
When people are pitting two things against each other unnecessarily.
Unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Like you could have both.
Yeah.
You can't have your cake and eat it too, because that's physically impossible. If you have your cake, then that's fine. But as soon as you eat your cake, then you don't have your cake anymore. So you can't both simultaneously have your cake and eat it too. That can
You can
never
have the cake in your mouth.
But you're not eating it. Like eating it's the whole thing. That's from the intent to the digestion. That is what eating is. So there are a couple things, like I still don't completely know what the crystal eyes are.
I think it was just a saying of the time. Crystal kind of represents, when people say I can see things crystal clear. Crystal might represent, it's a might. It might represent the fact that eyes are able to see clearly. On Shakespeare's Dash Sonnets, he also called out a whole bunch of examples of people using crystal eyes from that period.
Yeah,
and
they weren't really all the same. It really doesn't mess up the flow of what our thought process was, because it's just all about like the legal battle between the eyes and the heart. One thing how there's a jury. The thoughts have to play the jury because the eyes and the heart can't decide. So one thing I guess that came up in the analysis, maybe you touched on it before we left for break, but it's that the jury is stacked for the heart.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't really touch on it all that much, but I guess like you had mentioned off the air, that does add a bit of suspense to this whole thing. Like, the heart is obviously going to win because the eyes can't think for themselves. The eyes are really only interested in skin deep stuff.
And so here's this jury, and thoughts and your heart, those two things are pretty connected. Mm-hmm. Like you're always thinking about what you're feeling, basically. So if the jury is thoughts, you think they are going to vote for heart. Just like, say there was some lawsuit against cigarette companies for causing cancer. Like you would, the opposing attorneys would try to stack the jury with people in their favor. So maybe one side would want smokers, one side would not want smokers, that type of thing. Here's this jury that's stacked with thoughts that you think they're going to vote for just the heart, but then look what happens in the couplet. Everything's kind of divided evenly. You got to have both. Everybody should have what they deserve.
Sonnet 46, y'all.
Yeah. Thoughts vote mainly for property rights. It's a very property rights, it's pro-property rights sonnet.
Yeah. He's right-wing, too.
Yeah. So,
eyes are left.
We have so many trivia questions to look up. We have, I don't even know if it got to the beginning of the show, but we were talking about Lewis and Clark. Is it just kind of their story that we're supposed to know?
Yeah, their path. What path did they take, and what did they do?
What are their highlights?
Set up camp in Oregon, or what? Yeah.
So David Blaine.
And did they meet Sacagawea?
Yeah, I think they did. So David Blaine, how long has he been underwater? Hold on, Chippy. National Spelling Bee, is there a bell when you get it right? So we're going to look all that up on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. We're back on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. We have answers to everything, starting with me, the spelling bee. I watched one word. It was on ESPN.com. The student spelled the word holophone. He spelled it correctly, and the judge just said correct. There was no beep.
No small bell, huh?
No small bell. No.
So I don't know where I saw that from, but it must have been some...
Perhaps what happened...
Maybe it was the preliminaries.
Well, no, what I think happened, you could be back row at a spelling bee, but backstage at like a restaurant. And so you keep... at a deli. So you keep hearing like a bell. So you keep thinking that the two are connected, but it's because you're too close to...
How terrible would that be for the contestants if there's just a deli in the back of the room?
And just every once in a while, they just always time it. They pretty much heckle people by ringing their bell when somebody spells the word right.
Yeah.
They know because they're showing off that they're such great spellers in the deli. They try to get him to stop, but it's like, hey, there's a deli right next to the spelling bee place.
Yeah, it's tradition now.
Yeah,
we can choose different places, but we got to install the deli.
There was one time in 2004 where the deli person got it wrong. They didn't ring the bell, but the word was actually correct. And everybody thought that the student had missed the word, but then the judge had to be like, no, sorry, deli person, but don't wait for the bell on this one. You got the word correct.
It basically incited a riot at the spelling bee. Oh, it's scary.
So, no bell at the spelling bee, from what I could surmise with the one video that I watched. How long has David Blaine held his breath underwater?
David Blaine held the record. I don't know if he still holds it today, but he broke some underwater breath-holding record by holding his breath for 16 minutes and 32 seconds. That's a hell of a long time to hold your breath.
It's double what I guessed.
And it's 1/3 of what I guessed.
You wanted somebody to hold their breath for an hour. That's just too long. So what's left?
Stuff, though.
The Beatles' first album. The Beatles' first album. I was right. The album is called "Please Please Me." So
and is that the song that goes, "Won't you please, please"?
That's "Help."
Help. Okay, so that's what I was wondering.
But that's funny that you're right that they would have another song that's famous for saying the word "please" twice.
What's the famous song on "Please Please Me"?
Well,
or pretty much the whole album's famous.
Well, there's "I Saw Her Standing There." Well, since I saw her standing there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It also has "Love Me Do."
That's huge.
Love Me Do.
Man, that was their first album drop?
It had "Twist and Shout."
Oh, gosh.
And then the song...
game winner.
Yeah. The song "Please Please Me" was the one, come on, come on, come on, come on, please please me, oh yeah.
I don't know that one.
Last night I said these words to my girl.
Okay, I've heard that.
I know you. Okay. Well, we'll see how much of that I leave in because I don't think I was sounding too good there.
You got to leave the whole thing.
All right. So that's
this episode's an exercise in being humble.
Yeah, we're doing things that we're not good at.
Pretty much wrong on
spelling
everything.
Words. That's right. I got adjudicated right, so I still had to do something terribly. Besides record a podcast that goes on too long, talking about nothing. So I sang a little Beatles.
Good job.
All right, tell us about Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark, yeah. So they traveled across the nation they basically traveled up the Mississippi all the way to Oregon for, I think as part, it was an expedition involved in the Louisiana Purchase. One factoid that I kind of read about was Sacagawea. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right, but
well, that's what. No, earlier I said Sacagawea. That's how I pronounced it.
Sacagawea. She's often exaggerated as having been their guide, but apparently she played a less important role. She was basically a translator. She was the wife of their interpreter. Okay. So she was there to aid with that. What Wikipedia kind of says her biggest part or her biggest role may have been in when meeting other tribes or running into different, basically tribes people who've never seen white men before. Seeing a woman with a baby may have kind of helped to quell a lot of tension.
Okay.
There. So she was important, but she was not necessarily the guiding them through the wilderness.
And this was on Wikipedia?
Yeah, so who knows? It could be completely wrong.
Well, I'm not saying that Wikipedia is completely wrong. I'm saying this is our source. Since we're doing some of that revisionist history right now, And normally Mike and Scott Read a Poem does not perform revisionist history. Since we are doing it, we at least would like to cite our source just in case this is wrong. Just in case.
Just in case.
We got it from... we have not done our own Sacagawea research.
I have a deeper citation. So the part that I was talking about from the Wikipedia page saying that her role may have been exaggerated is from a book by Ella E. Clark and Margot Edmonds. The book's name is Sacagawea of the Lewis and Clark Expedition, written in 1983.
Is Clark a descendant of the Clark?
I wonder, yeah. That would explain her interest.
Can you click on this person's name?
Let's see here. Ella E. Clark.
Ella, are you related to William Clark?
There's a lady named Ella Elizabeth Clark who wrote papers from 1944 to 1965. That's all I can see.
Well, we're going down the rabbit hole here on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. You know what we're doing, actually? You and I, we're going on a quest.
Oh, yeah.
We're going on a quest to find this person. But you know what?
Being led by Sacagawea.
Yeah, I think we could take a break from this quest. Just slow down a little bit. Maybe we'll find out if the person who wrote this book is actually related to William Clark later. We don't necessarily have to do it now. It could be a long quest.
Sure.
Yeah. Because...
just like this episode.
Yeah. I wonder what I liked about this episode more. Because we did a really great sonnet today. I mean, that was a really fun one to read.
Yeah.
But,
smashing sonnet.
Yeah, but we also had really cool trivia questions.
Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty good.
I think we need to decide what made the show better. If it was the trivia questions or if it was the sonnets, okay? That's what we need to do. We need to pick one of them. We need to decide which one was better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, most of the listeners are going to say it's the sonnet itself that's the meat of the program, so...
So you think that the listeners are going to vote for the sonnet?
Yeah, most likely.
Okay, so those of you listening live, vote now. Oh, Mike, the results are coming in right now. For all the people listening to the live stream, it's coming in. It looks like, well, son of a gun. They've decided that both are equally important and should have their place in the show.
Oh, you listeners.
You're so clever and you know exactly what to say all the time.
Yeah. Inciting Rule Sonnet 46 on us like that.
Alright, ending comes right here.
Pretty good.
And we thank you for identifying that in us so much, audience. From all of us here at Mike and Scott Read a Poem.
So this week's gladiator is Dallas. She was a gladiator, a female gladiator from 1993 to 1995. If I look at her picture, definitely an American gladiator.
And if you don't?
She looks strong. If I don't, the name Dallas implies that she's a great American gladiator. She's won a Tough Woman contest.
Ooh,
that was somewhat controversial because of deaths that occurred during the contest.
Jeez. Okay, well that's a sad story.
Tough. I think she's the first woman winner of the Tough Woman contest. That's
a sad story about the deaths, but let me tell you about my experience with world's strong woman type events. All right? I had a flat tire once, and I was out of town. And I had a long drive ahead of me, and I was like, I need to fix this tire. I need to get a new tire. They couldn't even fix it. I just needed to get a new tire.
Is this true, or is this...
This is true. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, this is eventually going to turn into a story about a strong woman contest. So, I luckily, there was a tire shop right there. So, I was able to just take it in and say, hey, I'm about to drive a long distance. I just need to get a new tire. So, it was going to be a couple of hours, but there was a restaurant next door, and I was like, okay, I'll just go in there, I'll eat lunch, and I'll take my sweet time. So I sat, and then I was like in the bar, and I was watching TV, and it was ESPN, and it was a World's Strongest Woman type of show.
Okay.
And I was watching it, and I was, trying to follow it because I had to keep my mind on something. And whatever year this happened, let's say it happened in, 2009. I don't remember when it happened, but let's say it happened in 2009. So I'm sitting there in 2009 watching this woman's this contest, and then all of a sudden I realize it says 2008 World Champion, and I was upset that I was not watching the current championship. What a waste of time that whole time.